You are sparring, someone throws a body kick. You check it. Once you plant your foot, you feel your hip flexors lock out. Or you throw a head kick and you feel a pull on your groin. I'm gonna give you the 3-step protocol and break it down in this video to stop it from happening again. So let's start with the mechanism, because if you don't understand why it happens, the protocol won't make sense. So your nervous system's job is not to make you flexible, it's more to keep you alive. When you demand a rapid movement, head kick, sprawl, anything with the hip flexors, your brain runs a quick calculation. Do I have enough strength and control to do this movement? If the answer is no, then your brain reacts with the contradiction. It becomes protective. The muscles clamp down. The clamp down comes across as a tweak. In severe cases, it comes at a cost of a tear. The cause is the nervous system has lost confidence in the range of movement. So for me, before, I used to stretch before class 20 minutes, use a foam roller in order for the adductors, the hip flexors, the quads, the thighs, and calves. And it was good, I was loose, but I still wasn't making any flexibility progress. I was still at the same body kick. Wasn't able to get that consistency. Even with the foam rolling and everything, I wasn't practicing and pushing my legs to a higher end range. My brain wasn't confident. I haven't done it before. So I kept staying the same. Felt loose for a bit and then just regressed and just did not move the needle at all with my leg kicks. The injury is not the cause, it's the symptom. Write that down. So every time you do a cold stretch with the hip flexors, your body, your brain locks it as a threat. Every time you train through a hip flexor tweak, your body logs that. Every hour sitting, 4 hours straight, 8 hours straight, your body logs that. So over the months and years, it accumulates when you're sitting down, or if you just continue to ignore the symptoms or any of the hip flexor issues, it compounds. And I call it protective debt, where your nervous system is keeping score of what's happening throughout, which means you're just there at a comfortable range with your body kicks without pushing it further, because it just doesn't know how to go further without marking it unsafe. An example I would use is like a fighter who has been training for 15 years, ignoring the signs of hip flexor issues, will be worse than a beginner. Not because of age, because of 15 years of unaddressed protective debt. Because of 15 years of unaddressed protective debt. If you see my last video, I talk about it in protective debt, specifically to injuries. You're not fighting your age, you're fighting history. And the good news is history can be rewritten. So most fighters would train through the range of motion. Kick, sprawl, hip circles during the warm-up. But almost everyone does not train at the limit, over the limit of their range. No one trains at the limit of their range. The psoas and iliacus, two muscles from the hip flexors, are used mid-range, where you spend most of your time. But at the end range, for your kicks and brawling, kicks and sprawling, they are completely untrained. So when you demand end range performance, you're asking your muscle to do something that it has never done. The nervous system refuses it because it's never seen it before. You never practiced the end range control. It just prevents you from actually going that next step. So a good example is, think of it like this. If you're asking someone to do 1 rep max on a lift that they never trained, the muscle might be capable, but the brain does not allow it. So those are the 3 causes: nervous system shut down under load, accumulated protective debt, and training without end range strength. Now, before I get into the protocol, here's a quick word. So if you're dealing with this right now, and if you want to address it, the complete system that I have, that I built, that I'm using right now, see the link below for my 12-week head kick protocol. It's a premium program, one-on-one coaching. In addition, I do have a PDF as well for self-paced individuals. It breaks down the core exercises that I found that was useful for my specific hip flexor progression from last year, where I used what worked and what didn't and built a program where I gained 25 degrees hip flexion, actual flexion that I could use cold without any warm-ups or anything like that. This is the foundation that I'm giving. The program is going to give you the full structure, the self-paced PDF, and then the premium program where it's tailored to the individual. See the link below. All right, the 3 steps. These are the principles and they work. So there are 3 main inputs that pose as a threat for combat athletes, combat fighters over the age of 35 plus. Doing passive cold stretches forced, you're adding threat and not removing it. Threats through hip flexor tweaks and not addressing it. Instead, you are ignoring it. Every time you ignore the hip tweaks, you're just adding it to the debt bucket. The third one is unbroken sitting without counteracting that throughout the day. So like sitting for 8 hours without taking breaks every 45 minutes. So 8 hours of sitting with no offset is 8 hours of neurological debt accumulation. What I would do is identify which of these 3 you identify the most, your primary input, and start with that. Step 2, you have to build end range strength before you even need it. So I look at it this way. The nervous system only grants range when it trusts it. To earn that trust, you must demonstrate you have strength in the end range. This is something I was building on, especially last year in the first half of the year in 2025, where I was just doing a lot of different exercises to just RDLs, for example, build the foundation and then add the strength as well with squats and Jefferson curls, as well as targeted knee straight pikes. This way, chest to knee and straightening out the leg. This is just helps with the targeting and it just gets my body used to going more to that end range, pushing it, but still within control and just taking the time. So a good example would be a deep lunge position. Instead of sinking into it, drive your knee forward and squeeze your glutes hard for 5 seconds. For that active contraction, you're showing your nervous system that you are strong in that range. So that's like a good example of just holding for 5 seconds, showing your body, showing your brain like you're able to hold this. So when your brain sees that strength, it starts to trust that range. And when it trusts that range, it stops clamping down and you're able to push a bit more without staying where you are within your flexibility. So this is one of the things I learned last year, which is you cannot do 8 hours of sitting with 135 session of stretching, for example, a week. Like that doesn't work. Your nervous system responds to frequency, not volume. 5-10 minutes every day beats 35 minutes a week every single time. So the action I would take is pick a couple of drills. I have some of them links below that shows just a daily quick 5-10 minutes max you do every morning. Just the daily mobility backed by science by Medvedev and Kurtz. And it just shows that you just got to do this on a daily basis, like brushing your teeth in the morning for sure. And then even right before you go to bed. But basically it has to be continuous. 5-10 minutes a day is more than enough. And you want to do this every single morning in order to and be consistent. And that would go huge, especially you'll notice the difference in a week, in 2 weeks, and then in a month, and then you'll see it in 6 months and you continue to do this. It'll just help and you'll continually see more and more of your range. You're able to activate cold without doing extensive stretching and without having any sort of tweaks because your body, your brain is all used to it now. You know, these type of stretching dynamic movements is not a workout. These daily dynamic stretches is to show your brain that you are good to go, you're comfortable, you're able to extend the range and you're able to do the dynamic leg swings, front swings, and any sort of hamstring stretches without having any sort of issues and tweaks. And it shows the range of motion is safe to access. So it's the consistency that rewires the nervous system, not intensity. The fighter who gets hurt throwing a head kick did not fail because he was out of shape or because of his age or even skipping leg day. He failed because his nervous system didn't trust the range. Fix the trust, and then you fix the injury risk. If you want the full 12-week program, links in the description. It's a premium one-on-one program, as well as the PDF I have there if you want to start self-paced first. Subscribe if you want more of this, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.